Yeah. The horizontal and the vertical, both are up. You don't see it, you're not paying attention. Would this launch be bigger than last, Tress? I mean, we're getting the new class, so that's already bigger, right? I mean, the last season we got a new league with not even new ascendancies, right? So we get a new league with buffs and nerfs, right? Obviously, and that kind of stuff, new uniques, new mechanics, and those things. We get Act 4, obviously. So that was like plenty cool. However, we did not actually get like bonus ascendancies, bigger class changes, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's definitely something where we're gonna be like, sure. No, the horizontal is up as well. I can see both horizontal and vertical. So I would say this is going to be one of their biggest launches yet, because we are certainly getting the last of the Vaal. That's the new league with new league mechanics, right? Then on top of the last of the Vaal, we're getting the last Druid. So we'll get that reveal. Druid will have 2, 3 ascendancies. Who knows? I guess it's going to be 2, most likely. Then we have the Abyss League also staying, which is the interesting part, right? So the Abyssal League is actually not leaving, it's staying in the game, which means we're going to have the Abyss crafting on top of all the other stuff that's going to come. This game is sexist as fuck for gender-locked shit classes. If that is your only problem, sir, you get a fantastic life. Brother, listen. That's your only problem. Amazing. So yeah, we get the Druid, we get the maybe new ascendancies for the other classes. We're gonna have buff nerf, right? We get the new lineage supports, and potentially on top of the new lineage supports, we might actually get other new lineage supports as well, because that's the big question. They started giving us those, and now we're getting the Druid, so we alone might actually get lineage stuff for the Druid. By the way, the transformation of the Druid seems to be down to attacks, right? So you're not turning into bear form permanently. You're pretty much doing it for the attacks, and then you turn back. It's definitely rage gameplay because he has 30 rages at any given point, top left corner. Actually here, so top left corner you can see 30 rage, right? That's interesting. Abyssal and Standard and mapping is cool. Yes, I mean, Abyssal was great for crafting. Abyssal was straight up amazing for making like the best weapons and things like available. Sorry, Chad. Pony God here. What's it called again? No YouTube Premium. We're back in action again. So yeah, we had that kind of stuff. Oh, they had still the levels back in the day. So wait, let's look at the gems that we can see, because these are gems that we will most likely see as well. Let's hope Druid is a man instead of a they. Druid is a man. That's a fact already. Druid is 100% going to be a man. I mean, the model was back in the days a man. The key art is a man as well so far. So everything related to Druid is actually like kind of man. I would be surprised if we actually go in the female direction, but we'll see.
Weekend alongside the launch,
right? What it turns out to be. Dime Vision, this is almost 3 years old. Yes, Dime Vision, this is 2 years old gameplay. However, this 2 years old gameplay does have Act 4. This is actual Act 4. Right? However, no matter how old it is, what we can look at, because we're currently waiting another 36 minutes before it starts, right? Doesn't change the fact that this is happening. We are getting roars. we're getting roars, most likely, right? I feel like Jonathan in this update is going to poop on the Diablo announcement. Oh, wait, like, there is no way. How do I say this now? The Path of Exile new league and new content is leagues above what Diablo has right now. That's out of question, right? That this is better than a new class, an actual new content is better than just a new league that's revamping the game. It's obvious for everyone, right? Not much to discuss about that. Leaner, thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Good to see their partner. I mean, I personally will play Diablo day 1, and then on day 2, I'll play Path of Exile. That's it. Like, I'm not planning to do anything else. Seconds to total use time if not already in a bear form. Trigger socketed Warcry skill. Socketed skills deal increased damage. Socketed skills have increased area of effect. Well, that's actually interesting if you think about it. Like, can I use the roar of the Druid to just trigger any Warcry skill? Which is actually kind of nifty if you think about it. Am my POE updated? Can I start it already? And we're gonna like see what we have here in game, and we're gonna compare it to what's happening, right? So if we get a Warcry, and a Warcry functions as a simple ability that you can then trigger and shoot things out here. Where's our warrior? We need a warrior. Smith of Kadava. No, where's my treasure slammer? Let's see what we got. I always gotta like look at all the Warcries that we kind of have. Could you trigger the existing the new Warcry? Or is this fancy pantsy Warcry the KM's Bibbidi Bob that we got? Forget the name. Goodness Christ, I haven't started Path of Exile in a while. Did POE 2 get an update? No, the update, we're going to get the reveal today, Leonard. So there's a big reveal coming with a new league. The new league is called the Vaal. Time of the Vaal. And with a Druid. With the last of the Druid. Right? So we get 2 banger things actually coming. So not only an actual new league, also new class with new ascendancies, with new passives. Right? So it's promising to shape up plenty interesting, to be honest. Where are my skill gems? Let's go into the stash. Gems. Let's get a skill gem out here. So what we got? We get Infernal Cry. We get Infernal Cry. We get Fortifying Cry. We got Seismic Cry. And we get Ancestral Cry. See, this is my question, chat. Can the Ancestral Cry also be triggered by the ferocious roar of the Druid? We'll be able to stream the announcement. That's what we're going to do, Kenpachi. We're just early online to talk a bit about Druid and what we know already. What knowledge has been already out there. That we know we're getting bear form. We're getting wolf form. And as it seems, we are, like, there have been discussions on the internet. There have been, it seems like a creator leaked something. There's talks about a potential wyvern form. Which sounds kind of cool because it's going away from the standard, right? Druid is always bear, wolf, and then, I don't know, moonkin, right? The glory generation for Ancestral. Probably need the glory generation to then trigger the ferocious roar, right? Ferocious roar will cost spirit because of the auto exertion cost reservation. Yeah, could be a way to handle that, sicko. I mean, stroking, the video is 2 years old, so anything that we know from this is most likely outdated at this point, right? However, we can still glean some information and get excited for what's to come, right? Do we see other skill gems? No, we get the Ferocious Roar, right? They're doing the Seismic Cry. See, like, how different the Seismic Cry is. Performs a Warcry taunting, knocking back enemies. Increase Warcry speed, increase knockback distance, hit stuns enemies as though dealing more damage, hits ignore enemy monsters, exerts the next one melee summon attack you perform. So it's not even, like, similar to the Warcry that we had, like, right? Infernal Cry and the Seismic Cry here. Kind of, like, different. Let's see how it looks, Chan. I haven't watched the footage in a while. It's been a hot minute. So you got the, you can pretty much spam it. I wonder if there is a roar spamming druid possible. We know there's a warrior spam possible, right? You can do a warrior cry spamming build. Wonder if there's a druid that can do the same. Does the league start today? The league starts on the 12th. Today is the grand announcement. And as we know, GGG, they will give us almost everything and then bird feed a few more drops of interesting stuff. What I am hoping for is that we today get the big patch notes, because I would like to see what did they nerf? What did they buff? What is with the existing stuff? Obviously, I want to know everything about Druids and the new endgame mechanics that come with Time of the Vaal. However, I also want to know what's happening with our existing skills, right? What's happening with our mercenary? Because I am obviously a mercenary main when it comes down to that. I'm really interested in it. I love the merc. And I would love to know what's happening. Right? So that's where it gets kind of intriguing. So here, spell casting, and then oh, that's advertisement again, chat. Ignore that. I gotta get YouTube Premium for this at some point. I want weapon skill passive in the ascendancy for Druid passive to learn more int or strength. I wonder what weapon we're gonna utilize. If it's going to be staff, because in the gameplay you actually do see the staff, right? If we're getting a new kind of staff. There's specific druid staffs. Are we getting swords? Because that's the big question for a while now. Because if we're getting swords, we also need to get the new warrior ascendancy, which was going to be Marauder. And Marauder was supposed to be the sword-based thingy, right? But they actually promised us a new weapon with 04. So where's my 04? Okay, you can summon wolves, right? I like that. Wolves are cute. What I'm most interested in are the volcano skills. I hope the volcano skills are something you can actually play, right? I want this. I want cool volcano gameplay. What really interests me is also you have these skills right now, right? From the 2-year-old gameplay. This old gameplay does not have the new support gems, right? Because let's remember what the Abyssal League actually brought with it. We did not only get a wholesale change to everything, right? We also now have these support gems that are like Rage 3, Rage 2, the rapid attacks, like, right? All the new kind of cool stuff that gives bonus abilities and things. And that might be very intriguing with the Druid skills, huh? Even more intriguing than it's been before. I want them to fix Plasma Shot for Merg to work a mouse using the sprint to move. Kind of annoying, have to map another skill to a key. There's small things like that for every class that are frustrating as hell. I hope they add new support gems that the other classes can use as well. I would be super surprised if we didn't get any new support gems, Gonzo. So far, every single league, every single season, we have gotten some new supports. I mean, might it be something like Hemo Crystals, and then the Hemo Crystals actually went away again? Right? Think about it. Like, we had Hemo Crystals, but Hemo Crystals left. But it might be that a lot of this stuff was actually going to come back down the line, right? I mean, here still. No, we actually still have Hemo Crystals. Thank you. Thank God. Jesus Christ. But we might get more stuff like this, right? Because Blood, for example, still has way too few supports. If you go for bleed, or if you also go for fire-related stuff is generally not where it could be. Kind of, yeah. There's every skill could like need some more things that make it even more interesting. Surely. Sword's not going to come with duelist. I'm not sure if it was meant to be duelist or for Marauder. I mean, sword is kind of everywhere in the skill tree, right? We get sword here, we get sword stuff there. It could also come with warrior. You're right, duelist is supposedly here, right, as an armor evasion class. So this should be duelist. But we were promised a new weapon. Naga, I hated the game. I was playing Sork without any help guide and I was so weak. Yes. If you played Sork and you didn't fix your way completely into it, you could have just hit a wall of frustration. Surely. And coming back after a year, the game is different. Yes, the Abyssal League completely reworked the game. And I think this is what we're going to see with Time of the Vaal 2. That the game is once again completely changing. Right? I don't see this being the same game anymore. What I really hope for is a meaningful endgame activity that is not just doing maps, right? Because currently it's just maps. Get some league mechanics or force the league mechanics with the tablets, maps. Hope that you get a pinnacle boss, maps, right? Cast while channeling. I don't see that actually doing much, but we get lightning storm. Creates a lightning storm for duration. We don't have a lightning storm skill right now, correct? I'm not crazy. We do not have a lightning storm of any capacity. Right? In the current elemental stuff, but like Orb of Storms, right? We get Fireballs, we get Frostbolt, we get Temporal Chains, Snap, Lightning Orb. Yeah, there's nothing Lightning Storm wise. What do we know about the endgame changes? Well, we have the teaser, in case you missed it. Here, teaser.
I desire more than what this mortal flesh could provide me. And so now, my darling, I am yours.
Fate of the Vaal. That is the League. So you get the Druid. The Druid is the big update 04. And then Fate of the Vaal is the new League, just like the Abyssal League, right? Just like the Asmarian Wisps. So Fate of the Vaal is supposed to be what's the new hot shit. Now, Fate of the Vaal, we don't really know what to expect here, right? It could be about Vaal realms, where you go to discover these Vaal crystals that will then be corrupted versions of skills or different versions of skills. Right? It could be traveling back to the past to meet up with Aziri. Aziri is the lady that had intercourse with the beast, as far as I understood. Also, she has 3 boobies, if I'm not completely mistaken. Yeah. I'm not so in the lore. Okay, what do we get? We get Lightning Storm, deal lightning damage, base duration 10 seconds, creates a Lightning Storm for duration, which repeatedly strikes enemies. I would be so happy if we do actually get a Lightning Storm, right? I have been dreaming about just casting a Lightning Storm and just putting it down, and then we're good. And then just be able to... So what he like what's happening here is it's actually kind of cute. So they still have a cast while channeling gem, right? Then we're putting the lightning storm into the cast while channeling, and then you're gonna be channeling your lava, and while you channel the lava, right, he's been triggering the lightning storm, which is actually really cool if you think about it. See, that's the playstyle I'm looking for. Over a 4 boobies. Sorry, yeah, Aziri has 4 boobies. It seems. So that's a playstyle I'm personally more looking forward to than the animal-related playstyle, right? So what I'm really curious about is how much we're going to be forced to actually play animal form, right? How much is that going to be part of the loop? Do we have to be the bear? Do we have to be the wyvern, allegedly? Or do we have to be the wolf? Or can we just be completely a caster as well? How long does the announcement typically take? An hour, Katie. They're actually pretty efficient about this. Hour to hour and a half max. They're kind of like breaking through the points like there's no tomorrow. And then we're obviously going to do the wrap-up TLDR video again, plus the next couple of days. Bears are nice, though. I do fully agree that bears are nice, but it's such a cookie-cutter gameplay to a degree to just play the bear. I've been waiting for elemental spells like crazy. I mean, if we look for the current skills, it's so sad what we have. Like, fire-related skills, that's like sometimes when you get not cool stuff, right? I was trying to look at elemental for something meaningful fire-related. And there was not a single skill where you felt like you could play this as an endgame build, right? You could play some fireball with an ice wall later on, but you couldn't really. The firestorm, for example, not an actual build. Flame blast, not an actual, like all this stuff, not actual builds, right? So where's my fire that allows me to go fire? No YouTube Premium, Kiss. No, I watch ads. I do hope that people watch ads on my channel, so I guess I watch ads as well. What can I say? Sometimes you get to experience the experience. Wolves are better. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a werewolf form, and you seem to be able to summon wolves, so that could be interesting to just be a pack of wolves, right? So definitely a possibility. What's crazy to me is that we're getting the Druid without actually having tested it at any like kind of game show or anything, right? They really didn't give us any chance to pre-play this. It was just, there you go. Here's the Druid. Deal with it. Waiting for a free-for-all release? Well, I guess you're going to have to wait at least until next year. Like a whole year. I don't expect this to, like, maybe next year in winter, it could be a 1.0 release. I mean, if they keep up with the meaningful updates, they might actually make it in time. That would be a 2-year early access cycle, kind of like what they promised, or they said. I mean, they were like, we can do it in a year, but they couldn't, obviously. I really need a bleed druid. Lots of totems, sacrifice offerings, curses, and blood magic and poison. I think it's going to be elemental, and it's going to be some kind of beast form druid, right? So we're going to have 2 ascendancies, and one ascendancy is definitely going to be like some kind of shaman ascendancy that might or might not help with totems as well. But that's, yeah, definitely. I see that coming. Dr. Business, thank you for the Prime Gaming subscription. Dr. Business, welcome back, partner. Thank you for the 87 months. Also, topping not buying early access. If you buy early access, you get coins. And with these coins, you can buy yourself stash tabs. And if we're honest with each other, you're anyways going to buy stash tabs, or the game is just no fun to play. When you need at least the currency one, you need the maps one. You preferably want to have the gems one. Then the abyssal one. Actually, I would like to have an abyssal one. One for tokens as well. We get one for socketables too. That one is way too useful to not have. We get the delirium one together with a ritual one, right? Also very good. The essences stacking. I mean, these are the minimal ones you kind of want for the game to feel good. So, I mean, like, yeah. You could wait for the release, and then you spend money anyways. So that's that. Right? Or you wait for a stash tab sale, and then as you buy the game, with the coins you get from buying the game, you buy yourself stash tabs. Surely, that would make sense to you. Your Totem Warrior build was awesome. Yes, the Totem Warrior build was insane, and I'm hoping we're getting something totem related from the Druid, because the Druid tree, so this is the Druid passive tree, chat. This here. This section, it starts with spell damage, attack damage, and the armor energy shield. Because Druid is supposed to be armor energy shield character, which is already chef's kiss. I mean, fuck yeah, Chad. finally an armor energy shield character that natively has armor energy shield. Armor energy shield. Armor energy shield. Armor energy shield. Then up here we get armor energy shield, right? We get even more armor energy shield. We get armor energy shield. So finally, I have been looking for this like so long. But the thing is that up here in the tree, right, you get totem, you get totem. We get here unlimited number of summoned totems. Totems reserve spirit each, so that too. You get pretty much next to it also the totem. Then you could like really easily travel through this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bomb totems, 8, 9, 10 bomb totems. So yeah, there's no abyssal crafting at 04. No, abyssal crafting is there. We will get Stupidioc. The whole abyssal thing is now part of the game. It was already said on like they made a blog post. I'm pulling it up quickly so we can confirm this twice. Here. What happens to your character? So, what will happen to Abyssal? And it was with the last Druid content update launching next Friday. You might be wondering what happens to current Rise of the Abyssal. Fight with the Abyss not over yet. As the mechanics will be added to the Paths of Exile's core in the last Druid's content. Boom. And that's crazy. The Abyssal is a lot of fun. The Abyssal is probably the best mechanic they made so far. And the crafting is going to be huge. I mean, we're going to be able to make the best weapons, the best crossbows, the best everything once again. Right? I mean, this weapon was also made with like the parts of the Abyssal crafting, parts of the essence stuff. And some of my crossbows, they're only there because of that, right? So I've made like killer weapons. Computer, Diablo 4 already had their announcement, so very weak rage bait on your side, and Diablo's announcement was so and so, not so optimal. So good try, but complete fail. No 84 release the Paladin. No, there's no Paladin coming. There will never be a Paladin again in Diablo 4. You gotta probably wait for Diablo 5 for Paladin.
Courage takes
People really need to get their head out of their buttholes. We get new patch notes on 031E, Soto. I saw that there was an update, but I wasn't aware why you would do an update to the existing Path of Exile right before the reveal. Did it even have patch notes, Soto? Because I didn't see anything. There was drops. There was that. Was it announced on here on Twitter, Rooney? On like in their game under the community tab? Not really, right? I'm going to play Diablo 4 for 2 days and abandon it for POE 2. It's not even 2 days, right? I mean, on the 11th, I'm going to be playing Diablo, and then on the 12th is POE. I am way too excited for the Druid, right? I'm way too much looking forward to learn a new class. Because it's not about, like, it doesn't really matter the new endgame to me, right? I don't care about the big changes they're doing with the season. I just want to play a new class in this game. I want to learn all the new skill gems, right? I want to see what's happening, what you can do, which kind of builds can we pull out. I mean, we're definitely going to be leveling more than one Druid. There will be multiple Druids leveled. And that's kind of like, that's kind of cool. Really excited for that. We're not starting on Friday night. Yeah, I gotta start on the Friday night as soon as possible, right? I have to be there right away. By the way, this is the Blind Beast fight from 2 years ago, Chad. It's pretty much still the same, right? But a bit less effects on the Blind Beast. Not as exciting. What's funny is to see how weak the lightning stuff was. The Druid seems to have like an easy time staggering enemies. Probably. I'll wait a few days for opponent to have build guide. We're gonna be going with this Druid like update 1 to 50, update 52, and so, right? So you're definitely gonna be getting daily videos on the Druid, like day 1 update, day 2 update, day 3, and so on, right? Like, I mean, first day, I will definitely try to sleep beforehand so that we can play through the whole night without sleeping. And then on the follow-up day, straight away, like, be the level that we could make the first guide. That's my plan. It might be a very tankish class. I mean, it's a tankish class by nature, sir, because it's energy shield plus armor. Armor, energy shield, armor, energy shield, armor, energy shield. Then you go up here, armor, energy shield, right? And you have this node, so more armor, it's here, 20% increased energy shield, and defend with 120% of armor while not on low energy shield. Okay, that's also very tanky, especially with the increases of armor, and with armor takes care of elemental damage as well, right? These two things are going to be going so nifty hand in hand. We get here more armor and energy shield, right? And you get this node here that says, excess life recovery from regeneration is applied to energy shield. Energy shield does not recharge. So instead of now recharging, your life regeneration will consistently recharge your energy shield, which is actually an interesting way to play energy shield as well. So you're going to go for a lot of max life together with a lot of energy shield, and then you're going to have the life regeneration pretty much consistently get you your energy shield back. There have been builds that work like that. Fantastic. There's some kind of life regen here. Like you have life here, right? Life regen nodes right next to it. I wonder what the other nodes do. Less crit damage bonus when a full life, more crit damage bonus when a low life. That seems bad. We get just attack damage here. That's a lot of attack. What the holy Christ? Chat, this is just attack damage. Attack damage. I never looked at it too much. We have minion stuff up here, which is interesting, right? That too. We get fire damage stuff. We probably have lightning damage things too. There's flails up here. We get some aura shenanigans. Presence area. I'm kind of interested to see what we can do with Ancestral Bond. Unlimited number of summoned totems. Totems reserve 75 spirit each. So instead of going now for the plus 1 to totems that you can get here, right? With spirit, you could technically get more totems. Question, however, is how good would this work? Because 75 spirit each, right? And then we would have to get a chest with spirit and a helmet with spirit and an amulet with spirit, and then you have to get your spirit up like to 300 at 50 something to balance it out. I'm still hoping for totem-esque playstyle, but I don't have my hopes up pretty big, right? It really only showed like a limited amount of skills. I just want to play like a cool Lightning Storm Druid, right? There's a whirlwind happening too, chat. Did you see that? So there was there was the Lightning Storm. But while the Lightning Storm was happening, see, there's a whirlwind happening too that kind of like stun locked the guy. Wonder what that's going to be. Oh, they even had the Prisoner 2 years ago? What the hell? That's crazy. Are the girls excited for Christmas? Yes, we get a little gnome at home. Or I don't actually know how you call these in English. The Christmas helpers. An imp. Well, an imp wouldn't be the word. Here, how do you call these lads in English? Wayne, show you picture. Here, how do you call these shitters in English? Tiny elves? Up on a shelf. Yeah, we're talking about like in Germany, you get this like you build this tiny house in your like Wayne. I mean, you do this. You get this tiny door in your house where one of them moves inside, right? Here, you like to do this, right? Where he moves inside, and then you make him like his little corner. And in Germany, it would be a Wichtel. And then he just changed things, and he writes like letters and that kind of stuff, right? And the children, they love it. Like my one daughter, who usually does not like to wake up in the morning, like she flies out of bed just to see if something changed, right? Something has happened. He does bad things. No, he does not bad things. He does good things. I mean, he's asking them to draw him pictures and so on, and he's handing out candy and that kind of stuff. He's a good little imp. They're imps. They're wearing green. Yeah, well, they're not elves. They're Wichtel. They're different in Germany. Like it's a different word. I thought you didn't get Santa in Germany. You get Krampus instead. No, sir. No. We get Santa Claus. Actually, it depends on where you live, because you either get Santa Claus or you get the Christ child. Right? I think in the north of Germany, for example, on Christmas Eve, we had the Christkind. She comes from the heavens and brings you gifts, right? The Christkind, the Christ child. A very nice angel comes down to bring you gifts. Yeah, Krampus is Austria and Bavaria on the mountains in the south, right? Yeah, in 2 days we got Nikolaus, the normal, the 6th, right? And then we get normal Santa. But we do Santa on the 24th. Like, I don't know how it is for you in your country, but we usually do the gifts and everything on the 24th, right? In the evening. And we don't go to bed and wake up in the morning to open our gifts. So that's like how we do that. Okay, let's close this one out. Open up the Twitch stream. There we go. Oh, Twitch stream is on, chat. So we can see what's happening. 2 hours. There's some background music. I might already have. Oh, so are the drops active? I think the drops are active on each POE stream. Or some stuff with Krampus. Yeah, but that's still the south of Germany, not the north of Germany. Wait, we got Knecht Ruprecht, the guy that whips your ass if you're not cool, right? I know. 24th is my birthday. Everyone else better not be getting gifts. Slightly higher. Jesus, what did your parents do? No child be born on the 24th. That's not a gift. That's pain, right? Howdy, Panaming. Good to see you there. I mean, are you all going to play Druid, chat? Or are you going to actually play something else? Honest question. With the Druid coming, are you going to give it a try? Or are you going to be like, nah, I'm going to play my favorite mercenary, warrior, Deadeye, ranger, whatsoever, and I'm going to use the Druid skills to make a cool build? Because obviously, you don't technically have to play the Druid, right? You could play as a Druid, but you could be a Deadeye. You could be an Amazon. You could be a Ritualist, right? You could be a, Titan, whatsoever. Yeah, who's playing Meta Lightning Destroyer Deadeye? Exactly. That's the question. I think I'm going to merc this go around. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably play a Druid with a crossbow. But my first playthrough is going to be an intended playthrough. What is an intended playthrough, chat? An intended playthrough is I'm going to play the class with the class abilities as you should, right? A druid as a druid, with a druid, on the druid, in the druid skill tree. After we have done that, we're going to do another character with all the cool druid stuff, right? But the first one is definitely going to be druid as a druid. Because I also do believe most people are going to play that way. So, let's make the sound loud, by the way. If you feel like Jonathan is not loud enough, please tell me when he starts talking. Poison Pathfinder was 20 out of 20, but I think it's going to be like a second character stuff.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Verdant Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions below. Now today, it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone in the community's been waiting for.
I need to put
So
out
let's
my
roll the
notepad,
trailer for
chat.
Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
Oh, naked druid. Okay, it's a man class, ladies and gentlemen, not a female class.
Well, well. What have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
I asked you a question.
What's wrong with him?
Ah, he's lost his bloody mind.
That's the camera switch. Oh, stun a lot. Lightning and vines in the ground. Trap. Wolf forward. Oh, that looks... Okay, I'm not a wolf fan, but that looks pretty sick. I mean, those ice claws. They look convincing. Oh, we get lashing vines. Did you see that? Chat? Wyvern form! Wyvern form! Wyvern form! With lightning wings. I'm sold. That's me. Yes! Wyvern Druid. I'm in. I'm in. Fissure Druid could work. But the Wyvern, honestly, that breath attack looked so cool. Like, whoa! And then destruction.
I will find you, Eve.
Now, as you can see, the Druid is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow Druids were destroyed by the King in the Mists, the Druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years as a beast. Now, finally reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity.
Huh.
The Druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design. As well as having human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The Druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks. As a human, the Druid typically uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world.
Look at that whirlwind.
One of the
chat.
first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time. While the volcano is active, turn into an animal and wade into melee range. Many of the skills you use as a human last for a significant period of time, giving you a good chance to turn into an animal and rage out.
When he slammed, there was more fire coming out.
But
See
how
that?
do you turn into an animal, you may ask? Well, the answer is a new weapon type that Druids use, animal talismans. When you equip an animal talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent.
And then weapon
Depending on
swap.
what you choose, you'll be given that animal's basic attack as a new skill to equip. For a bear, that's Maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will instantly transform into a bear and attack.
That's smart.
If you want to change back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast it. We wanted to make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle. In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way. The volcano we used earlier will emit more molten balls whenever you hit it with a slam, making it perfect for use with your bear form's furious slam.
But can you use this on a warrior? Just slamming into it with slam
While in
totems.
bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate rage, but the easiest one is simply smash your enemies with maul.
Okay, so rage works on
Once you
Druid.
see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam. Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes.
Cool skill. If you could perma
The
chain
more
that,
rage you have, the
rampage.
longer the rampage lasts, and doing it over a volcano makes it even better.
Yeah, if you could just keep rampaging and keep summoning the volcanoes
As you consume
seamlessly,
rage, your
and then
bear
you
form
blast
will
through a
generate
map.
endurance charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar is a war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your opponent's armor. The more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear. Use the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. We do roar, and then we slam, and then roar and slam, and roar and slam, right?
Or
Just
use
explode
Seismic Cry
through
to
a
stun
map.
your enemies and double up the number of slams you do. You can even use it with Ancestral Call, a skill that turns you into the fire god Cow. Ever wondered what the Karui god of war would look like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer. Finally, build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. A true bear apocalypse.
Bear
Now the bear is
apocalypse,
known for being a
said it.
slower and more lumbering animal, with slower attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the Druid, wolf form. For the wolf form, we wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes. After attacking, the wolf stands up on two legs, but after running for a short time, he goes back on all fours,
That looks
allowing
good.
to move more quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your basic rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark to them. Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolfman into your side, allowing them to fight with you. Mark and kill as many enemies as you can to build up a sizable pack. While an enemy is marked, your wolves will prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have. So make
That
sure you keep
speaks
your
already
pack
for
strong.
playing Deadeye. A Deadeye Wolf Druid.
Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf
Yeah.
pack dying in boss
Auto mark.
fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing it. Cross Slash also has another feature though. Remember those ice fragments from before? Well, Cross Slash will propel any ice shards on the ground towards its central target.
I gotta say,
First,
Fear
freeze your
looks
enemies
better.
with Lunar Assault.
So far.
Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with Cross Slash to generate a field of icy explosions to obliterate your enemies. If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off. Just like with the Bear's Raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a meta gem that you can socket mark skills from other classes into.
Okay.
So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce.
Oh, you
After
can
pouncing at an
pounce
enemy,
and put the
Cross
mark
Slash
on.
to explode the mark
That's
and
so
gain
good.
extra cold damage for a time.
So you're guaranteed to then like
The
put the
wolf
mark
has
on when
many
you
other
pounce,
ways to go all in on
and then
cold
you
though.
like cross slash and
Using
get
the Arctic
wolf.
Howl war
Kinda
cry will
cool.
allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos.
Herald of
Finally,
Ice.
the wolf also has the ability to call down the power of the moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming Rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form.
Ah, you can make
so you
Rage
could try
with
a
bear
hybrid
form,
bear
but
and
then
wolf
do
build if you want to
wolf form.
utilize the skill
Smart.
to its full effect.
Smart. So animal form combos are a thing, chat. And
All
it's
right, let's talk about the third form available to the Druid, and I think it's a cool one. The Wyvern.
I'm going to be playing
The Wyvern has a number of long-range breath abilities, but that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons. If they're close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an explosion of damage.
Look at that.
After
Look
the
at
battle,
that.
though, it's time to feed.
Stun,
Devour the
bomb,
corpses of
stun,
monsters to
bomb.
create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning. Not only does this do a bunch of damage, but it allows you to turn this melee skill into a much larger AoE attack.
And then you're going to do the
Once your
bomb,
wings are charged,
stun, and it's
your
gonna be
Wing
lightning
Blast
charge.
will also do lightning explosions for even more damage. If your enemies are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all.
You can eat
Alright,
them.
so
Oh,
those are
cool.
some melee options. But how about range? Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe
It's
fire
Dragon
after
Bone
all.
Shatter. Yes.
Rolling
deal.
Magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath attacks. Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground.
Fireball.
These balls will
projectiles.
trigger volcanoes as well, so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting.
Oh, what a fun playstyle.
But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours. Spitting a barrage of oil at your enemies will cover them in a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite. If you have power charges though, plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee
Okay, so
attacks
we
or
need a
channeling
Combat
this skill.
Frenzy to make power
In order to
charges.
help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human
Yeah.
abilities. As a Druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies.
That's cool.
Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock. Use it with lightning damage from your Wyvern form to enhance your damage. Making things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well.
Interesting.
And you know what else likes water? Plants. Water your plants to give them various extra abilities. Use Lightning Storm with Entangle to make them last longer, and attach more vines to each enemy, slowing them further. Summon Thrashing Vines to slam at your enemies for a time.
I mean, the
Any
vine
that are
play
created
style
in
looks
water
also
will be
pretty
larger
cool,
and
but I
deal
think
more
it's probably
damage.
going to be weak. However, it looks pretty cool.
Now then, with our enemies sufficiently subdued with our plants, time to really lay into them with our lightning-infused barrage.
Lightning Barrage with
Now,
Herald of Thunder.
this last Wyvern ability is just ridiculous, but we felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full advantage of them after all. So fly around and burn in it.
I'm sold. Take my money. You have it already. I don't care. Like, take my money.
Now there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell Totems.
Spell Totem.
Spell totems
Totem.
are meta gems that let you create a totem that will automatically cast any spell in the game for a time. In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges.
Ah.
You could use them to throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless.
So you can put
Your
your
bear form
lightning
can
storm
easily
in a
generate
totem.
endurance charges by consuming rage,
And then
and
go
your
wyvern
wyvern
form.
form can easily create power charges by eating corpses.
Oh,
So it's
no.
pretty easy for the druid to get the charges
Oh,
needed.
no.
But they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these.
Yeah, spell totems are going to be everywhere, Chad.
Now, of course, along
They're
with a
gonna
new
be meta.
class comes a bunch of new support gems.
Oh.
We've added over 30 new supports throughout the game, but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here.
Come on, Jonathan.
Fan the Flames can be added to any wind skill to spread fire from one ignited enemy to the other enemies behind them. It's great for the Wyvern's Wing Blast. but you can also use it on many other classes with wind skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's staggering palm projectiles. Accelerated growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain. And Advancing Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for watering plants en masse,
Oh,
or
Advancing
to
Storm
turn
has to come
tornadoes
with
into a
you.
real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along. And the Sorceress might like to use it with Firestorm as well. Echoing Cry causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more empowered attacks. Use it for the Druid's animal form Warcries, or on the Warrior for a nice power boost.
Yeah. I mean, Warcry Warrior was anyway.
Grounding Shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover.
Bam. Bam.
Now with a new class comes new Ascendancy classes. The Druid will have two options for now, with a third being released later. The first class is the Shaman. The Shaman channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying his animalistic and magical tendencies. By allocating Druidic Champion,
Every 2
you gain
rage grants
spell
more
damage
spell
the
damage.
angrier you are. And with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously and can spend it to empower your spells. With the knowledge of the Asmerian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols. After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available
Damn.
to the Shaman. These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build. You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster.
Oh.
After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying all who would face nature's fury. There are other abilities for the Shaman, but I'll just show a few from each class for now. The other Druid Ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of Foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain massive advantage. When taking Fateful Vision, you will see visions of your future self using specific skills. If you decide to follow this path by using the skill yourself, it will do significantly more damage.
Okay, that's weird, but
And with Converging Paths, at a critical moment in battle when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution, the Oracle can use Moment of Vulnerability to see a vision of the enemy's future, and then merge it with the current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both.
okay.
And one of my favorites, when you first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear in the Druid section of the tree.
What?
By allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures and gain skills that would otherwise be unavailable to you. For example, self-sacrificing allows you to be able to summon more minions by reducing the spirit costs, with the trade-off of making your reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to avoid death. Both the Druid Ascendancies offer interesting and unique ways to gain modifiers that no other class can get, so we're expecting a huge variety of build possibilities from these.
I'm going to do Shaman.
Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool. Fury of the King turns your bear form into a fire demon, converting most of your damage to fire. As a demon, you can also use Molten Crash, a jumping slam attack that leaves fissures around you. This unique also continuously grants glory, allowing you
not?
to use your ultimate abilities more easily.
Why not?
Now, of course, the Druid isn't the only thing we're adding to 040. We still have a bunch more to show. With every new release, we create a new league with new mechanics, new pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the trailer for the Fate of the Vaal.
Okay, Fate of the Wild Chat. Get ready.
The palace of Queen Atziri. It is a ruin, but in the dark, machines still churn.
It's like a Vaal temple, right?
The temple has many functions. And with it, a chance to save the Vaal. A gateway through time.
A map builder.
Travel into the past again and again.
So that, like, you build your own
Alternate temple.
Oh, yeah, you build your own temple, chat.
Uncover its secrets.
Until you reach the boss.
You will be rewarded for your sacrifice. And somewhere in the deepest chamber, my queen awaits. I beg of you, hear me. The beast cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do. It adores me. Come now, give unto me your desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
Yeah, that was the lady who went, like, beast mode.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts,
Hi,
Game
Mark.
Director on Path of Exile. In the Fate of the Vaal League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely. After killing them, the remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane devices, and sacrifice the monsters you find there to fully activate one.
Okay.
But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old, and sometimes infected by corruption. Twisted versions of ancient Vaal may emerge, and sometimes even stronger foes.
Cool.
On fully
random boss.
activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose. A portal opens and takes you deep underground to a lost temple, once the home of Atziri, Queen of the Vaal. What treasures could still be inside? I think you're gonna want to find out. In front of the entrance is a console of some kind, and on activating it, you can see a map of the temple. Atziri's personal chambers are on the far side, but how could anyone get there? There are disconnected rooms, and the layout doesn't seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast. The temple is powered by sacrifice, and this energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you run the temple, you will be given 6 rooms that you can place,
Yeah.
allowing you to craft your own dungeon to explore. Place paths to link up the dungeon, and place rooms beside them full of precious loot.
Yeah.
After you are happy with your choices,
And then you have to
open the
remember where
temple
everything is.
and discover the results of your efforts. Each room contains different challenges along with its rewards. On
Every
entering a
cooking-
room, the doors will slam shut behind you, and you will need to face the encounter within. But choose wisely. It's important where you place the rooms to get maximum returns. For example, when placing a commander, you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
Okay. Because it levels up.
With better leadership, the garrison will level up, making the monsters harder, but also more rewarding. Different
so
rooms
cool.
have different requirements for leveling up. For example, if you want to fully level up a smithy, you will need to supply it with golems from an adjacent golem works, and hook up a generator to the power network to supply it with power. After doing so, the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous. You don't need to memorize what interacts with what. When selecting a room, you will be shown the locations that will make other rooms level up, and exactly what effect it will have on the temple.
Yeah.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each time you come back, making the temple larger and larger and larger.
Until you make it to the queen.
So, that's the basic functionality of the temple.
That's cool.
But there is a lot more.
So it's a mini game in the game.
Once Doriani
Chat.
finds out about your travels to Lera Vaal, he will attempt to persuade you to take on a new mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point, right before Adzeri triggered the cataclysm that destroyed the Vaal. He requests that you go back and attempt to stop Adzeri to prevent the Vaal from ever being destroyed.
That's like a fantastic endgame activity, chat. Unquestionable.
Adzeri is on the far side of the temple, so you will need to expand the temple significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you. In order to deal with that, you are going to need to visit the architect of the temple. To get to him, you will need to place path rooms, but while doing so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Vaal technology only available in the past. Once you can travel into the past, a whole new set of rooms are available to you, and they have some pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item.
Okay.
But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place, and a sacrificial chamber to provide soul energy, you'll be able to level it up. And it's worth it. Because once you get the room to level 3, there are some very nice rewards to be had. In a level 3 corruption chamber, you will find this mysterious device. It has a slot to place an item, and it only accepts items that are already corrupted. What will happen to them?
Corrupt another time.
Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further. But this device allows you to corrupt your item a second time, adding another enchantment. This has the capability to craft some very powerful items indeed. But be warned, the Vaal are all about taking risks in the pursuit of power. There is a 50% chance that the item will be destroyed.
Yeah, I can see me exactly not using this item. Right?
Each room has its own interesting mechanics and rewards when it levels up. Many of them contain bosses to fight, special drops, and in many cases, new crafting
Gem
opportunities.
Corruptor.
For example, a level 3 alchemy lab has a nasty Vaal construct to fight, but if you can defeat it, you can find new corrupted soul cores. Like Guatalizi's Thesis, which on boots allows you to sacrifice your life to run faster. Or Quetzalcoatl's Thesis, which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires.
Good.
Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will need to face a highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Vaal unique,
Okay,
modifying it
here,
in unpredictable ways.
Mercenary build is cooking. Chat.
One of the mods of this unique will be removed and replaced with another random mod. For example, this Soul Mantle. It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die. By using the machine, this could result in a terrible item if you remove the good mod, but also some amazing items if you replace the downside.
Yeah.
Now, one extra thing to mention about these Vaal crafting machines. You don't have to take the items you want to craft into the temple. If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this button will allow you to create a currency item instead, allowing you to do the craft later or trade it if you want.
I'm gonna
Now, there are
trade
all
these
sorts
and
of
make so
interesting
much
rooms
money.
you can find
That's
in the
crazy.
temple.
You can trade
But the
them.
last one I want to show you today is the Flesh Surgeon.
That's so good.
A
You can-
Vaal
I'm
Flesh
just gonna make
Surgeon can be
currency
leveled up
right?
by
Because I don't wanna
placing him
corrupt
next to
things.
a high-level synth flesh lab.
A Sin Flesh Lab. Okay, chat.
But be careful. The Flesh Surgeon has some rather unpleasant experiments in his personal lab. Afterwards, you might notice the surgery table just sitting there. The Vaal are great at crafting items. Why not do some crafting on yourself? After laying down, you'll be asked which limb you'd like to replace. Left arm, perhaps your right leg. Each limb can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely. After getting up from the table, try out your new limb. It seems to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now, there is just one thing with replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state.
Okay.
You might need to return to the Vaal surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe get a better one next time.
It's kind of interesting because the longer you stay
Some
alive,
rooms,
the more
like
you
the
can reap
Commander,
bonuses.
can give you a new type of reward.
It's like a hardcore, but not
Medallions that can be
hardcore.
used to manipulate the temple in other ways. Using a Latle's medallion will allow you to artificially boost a room, even if it doesn't meet the normal requirements to level up.
Okay.
And a Huatalotli's medallion will stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee getting a reward a second time. Great if you want to stock up on double corrupts. Now, with all that aside, time to face the Architect, and you will be in for a fight. Once defeated, you will find another console that can be used to modify the temple. But this one is special. It allows you to place new types of rooms with specific rewards.
And you want to reach them.
There are rooms with specific uniques, special runes, and currency. But also a few other, more niche crafting experiments. Like this one, that can extract the socket balls back out of an item, at the cost of destroying it.
But we get the rune back.
Now, something really important is every league we release a significant amount of content for the endgame. In order to make sure that the Fate of the Vaal works well for late game players, we've added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the difficulty and rewards to match. Getting some rooms to level 3 adds extra mods to the entire dungeon, and these stack with each other. So in endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters. We also start to introduce ways to store up energy for the temple, allowing you to save up many runs so you can do them later at your leisure, and not interrupt your mapping too often.
Yeah.
Now in each league, it's important that we have a new pinnacle boss to test your character's might.
This is so cool.
In the Fate of the Vaal, you will get to face Adzeri while she was at the peak of her power. One of the rewards you will gain by defeating the Architect is the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber. Once connected to your temple, you can visit it to finally reach the Queen of the Vaal herself. This fight takes place at a critical moment in history, right as Adzeri communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form. Now, we are not going to show you the whole fight, but we will tempt you with one of the rewards. This is Adzeri's rule. This staff gives additional levels to all of your corrupted gems and lets you trade life for extra damage. But in addition to that, while using the staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield. Any projectile you fire at these will split into a nova, and they can chain from one to the other. So, that's the Fate of the Vaal League.
So a whole
But
build.
we
if
are
you kill
also
her.
bringing the previous league, Rise of the Abyssal, into the core game, along with a few changes. Now, for those of you who haven't seen what happens when a league is over, it's important to understand that you will not be seeing abysses in every area anymore. Rise of the Abyssal is now one of the league mechanics that can show up randomly in endgame. If you want to specialize in running abysses, there is now a tablet that will allow you to add them to any map you run. You can also craft the tablet to add abyss-specific mods to enhance how they function.
And you want to.
Now that Abyss is core, it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Yep.
You can gain your first points by completing an Abyss. But there are more available for doing depths and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options. You might just want more monsters and bosses. But you can also make finishing an Abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the Abyssal. Or make your Waystone modifiers also apply to Abyssal depths. You could specialize in the interaction with other leagues, or specialize in a specific Abyssal faction.
Okay.
One of the important elements that we have heard loud and clear is that needing to do abyss crafting on waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that. In fact, we have removed instilling from waystones as well. This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of all other content, but it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter. Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets, which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Once you
because
defeat
otherwise
the Arbiter of
frustrating.
Ash, you will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using regular currency.
Giddy, thank you.
Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could have gotten from instilling, so we have also buffed the bonuses that tablets give. Going forward, we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to waystones outside of the basic currency, because it
that's good.
adds too much micromanagement.
It
But
gets
on
just
that
annoying.
note,
You have to corrupt
Fate of
it.
the Vaal does bring the ability to corrupt your tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes. Now, with regard to Delirium Fog, even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying.
That looks cool.
Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly, so you won't feel like you're just playing in a sea of grey. Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15.
Yeah.
Well, after letting this simmer for a while, we are still getting this kind of feedback. So we are no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount. So to be clear, instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items, grant 40% more experience, and have 40% more life, in addition to all the
Kinda
normal
fine, I
scaling
think.
they get due to being higher level. This only applies to regular monsters, not bosses. We have also reduced the speed
less but
modifiers
harder
that monsters can
monsters.
get sometimes, which
Yeah.
also helps a lot with this. Now, we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040, but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The scope was a bit too large, and so we would need to wait until 050 for that. But rest assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new pinnacle bosses, and a significant overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon.
It's not like that we
Now,
got
another problem that
temple.
becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot of work here. The primary issue is CPU load. And to address that, a lot of things have been optimized. And we have done a lot of work to take advantage of more of your CPU cores. You should see frame rates of at least 25% higher, and a lot less bad frame spikes during gameplay. It does make quite a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more work in this area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance improvements over the next few months.
Thank you.
Of course, another important area is game balance, and we have made a lot of changes.
A lot.
Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often. We've also done a pass over lineage supports.
Okay.
21 of them have been rebalanced, as
21.
well as adding 9 more. Alongside the 2 new Druid ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others,
Okay.
with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different classes.
Okay.
And to top it all off, there are also over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree. These changes should go a long way to increase the viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety
Thank
that
you.
can tackle our most challenging content. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs.
So now that we told you about all the good
Today,
things, give us
we're
your
launching
money,
2
chat.
new series of supporter packs.
Okay, give us your
The
money.
Precursor and Kalgurin packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs
yes,
are
it's a new
purely
game,
cosmetic
basically. If you come
and
back,
do
you're
not
gonna be
affect
like,
your
"What the fuck
character's
is
power
happening?"
or progression in any way.
New Ascendancy trial not coming to DLC.
The
sadly.
Precursor series of supporter packs contains
that looks
6
great.
exclusive microtransactions. First up, the Marble Statue Character Effect. Once you finally stay still for a moment, a podium rises up out of the ground to immortalize you, turning your skin to marble. When you next move, the stone crumbles around you.
That's kind of cool.
The Precursors had mastery over gravity manipulation. So too can you, now with the Gravity Well portal. Witness the power of its pull as you approach it. Draw in enemies with your own gravitational pull with the
is how you
Awakened
present
Precursor
skins, by the
armor
way,
set.
Chad, right?
The Precursors designed and built many mysterious ancient beings. This one used to serve as a scout that would patrol and tase intruders.
Did we
Why
see the Druid?
salvage
Yes,
gear
at the
yourself
beginning of the
when the
video,
Master of
that's
the
all,
Forge
but
can
we're
do
gonna
it for
also
you?
have the TLDR video. Like,
Molten
I'm gonna make
gold
that,
spills
like,
out
tonight.
as the Forge Master breaks down your items.
And pretty much my next
The
days
relic
are
of
just
the
gonna be
Precursor's
talking
map
about
device
POE.
is a mysterious machine that sits atop ancient colossal statues. It keeps track of the number of charges consumed on your Precursor tablets used in the device.
That's cool.
The Kalguran Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Kalgurans had astounding skill in astronomy, being able to track cosmic events with absolute precision.
That's a nifty level up.
Harnessing that skill, with the Astronomer's level up effect equipped, you too can now see exactly how long it took you to level up as it outputs the time in chat.
We're waiting for the new zone.
The time taken to reach your last 3 levels is also displayed on the item, so you can link it when you have a time you're proud of. Crush unique enemies by unleashing the wrath of the lost Kalguran fleet, led formerly by Captain Heartland himself. A Kalguran seafarer needs armor fit for the treacherous seas of Rayclass. This set has you covered with the classic tricorn and, of course, a peg leg.
12.
The Lost Treasure weapon skins top off your appearance of a true raider of the seas. These gilded weapons can be applied to wands, two-hand maces, and shields.
Cool.
After a long
not
day
gonna buy a
of
single one of
plundering
these,
loot,
but cool.
retreat to the Kraken's Cove hideout, a home of some of the most deadly ocean-dwelling creatures in Rayclast. Many
What a
ships have
cool-looking
met their
hideout.
demise here. What better to accompany you in Kraken's Cove than a Kraken itself? Replace your stash with a dormant Kraken, waiting for its prey. As you approach, it will awaken and terrify both you and any guests in your hideout. Alongside this, an extra stash skin item will be granted to you, and when placed, will automatically open to any stash tab set with the currency affinity, to help having to navigate through your tabs.
Ah, that's nifty.
Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. Thank you very much for all your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, at 11 AM NZ time, we'll post the patch notes.
Uh-huh.
With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release.
I can't stay awake for those
Keep an
patch
eye on the
notes.
news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to playing alongside our fellow shapeshifting exiles.
Honestly, for you know, I'll
while
sleep and do
uncovering
the video
lost Vaal
tomorrow.
secrets by
It
doing
makes
some
more sense
dungeon
because I'm going to
crafting.
refresh.
We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
I am Chad. I mean, I know I will play the Druid definitely as a, what's it called again? As a wyvern, right? It's just fantastic.
Welcome back, Exiles, to the Q&A portion. I am your host, Ziggy D, and today we're going to be touching on the design of the Druid and the fate of the Vaal League while we gather some community questions. Then we'll deep dive into endgame,
build a Druid necro?
balance,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
other game design topics. I am, of course, joined by game directors Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts. How you guys going today?
Oh, very good. I mean, it's been a great one to work on this one. Like, I've really enjoyed it. So yeah.
I mean,
it's
so
definitely
far,
great to see you
update looks
again.
like an
And it feels
11
like
out
it's
of
only
10.
been
Yes,
like
again, Keith.
no time at all since the last time you were here with the POE1 release.
It feels like only several weeks, and that's pretty accurate.
yeah.
We get to see you twice as often now, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm around every 2 months or so now, roughly. It's great. I love it. Let's keep going. So I do have to open with this, though, is like, Druid looked a little bit weak, I think, in the demonstration video today.
Yeah, I think one of the issues that we have is like we're so concentrating on like just demonstrating how the mechanics work that we sort of forget to be like, okay, let's actually make sure the damage numbers that we're doing on this like test character we're filming here are actually like in line
werewolf
with what
looked
people
pretty
actually normally expect. So yeah, there's just a few things there that we probably should have caught and made a little stronger there. But yeah, when you actually play it, it's certainly from the alpha feedback incredibly powerful. Like
Yes.
we were seeing some people say, oh, the wolf looks weak or whatever. Well, I can assure you that on alpha there's a bunch of people saying the wolf is super OP. So it just comes down to the things you go through in order to demonstrate stuff.
I think we are probably going to be worthwhile. We make some videos showing a bit more of the less demonstraty side and get them posted and stuff this week. Because honestly, you can just play it literally right now, and it's
Yeah, I've definitely been playing and recording a bit myself, because I was like, when I first watched it as well, the draft, I was thinking, it's like, I don't really get a feel for what it feels like to actually play it. There's good demonstration here of the mechanics, but yeah, I can understand how from your perspective, it'd be pretty easy to be like, oh, we want to communicate how this cool thing works and this cool thing works.
There's a fine line there for sure, where if you get too hectic, people are like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm just they're just looking at a ruckus. And then, in this case, I'd say we went on a little too far on the other side of the line, was just a bit too slow. And as a result, yes, it can look a bit weak. But
yeah, I think we'll try and get some like raw Druid gameplay out to people to understand it. I think particularly for this class, because of the shape-shifting
Druid is going to be
it's
strong.
so hard for us to... Normally we can look at something and be like, oh, that's just a demonstration. We kind of know what it would look like at endgame. But I think with the Druid, it's just so unusual. It's so different that it's actually hard to judge what it would feel like to even play it. And I'm happy for my hands on to say that like it's almost immediately like very smooth, the shape shifting of it, the movement of it, especially because like in your demonstrations, you're not really using dodge, roll, sprint, that sort of thing as well, which makes a big difference.
I suppose one of the things we didn't really dwell on in the video as well is that we do actually have dodge roll. I mean, they're not actually rolls for the animals, but yeah, all the animals can like hop around and that kind of stuff. And that was honestly one of those things that was like kind of funny, because initially we actually had it so when you dodge rolled, you would transform them back into a human. And the reason we did that is because it's really hard to make animations for animals that like actually work correctly. Like we actually thought it was impossible, but then when we actually put it on alpha, there was the kind of visceral reaction of I want to still be a bear, like while I'm hopping around. So we ended up having to like work out like how can we make this possible? How can we make it so that you can actually do the dodge rolling as an animal? And that sort of ended up being pretty good, I would say.
And this was like clearly the hardest class to design so far, and it took a bit longer. Like I think
I would
we were
like
originally hoping to bring it out in a previous expansion.
Yeah, quite a while ago. But the thing is with it is that it's kind of like designing 4 classes in one, because not only do you have the situation where like obviously we want to have synergy between skills and stuff like that, and we can like look at that in a normal class and work out what those might be. But with this class, people want to be able to play just as a bear or just as a wolf, as well as people who want to play like dual with a human and a wolf, or people who just want to be a wolf and a bear, and like all the different combinations. So we had to kind of come up with a way for like each line needs to be self-sufficient and that it's got all the tools that you need, but at the same time you have to not have it so it feels like there's just duplication between them. We're like, oh, like this is just the same thing as what a bear has, but you are a wolf instead. So we kind of have to like, it's like you need all the tools and yet you also need to have them feel different, and that just made it really, really tricky to get all of the things right with it. And then it didn't also help that, since the last time we were working on the Druid, way back when we showed it off in Gamescom 2023, we had WSD, and that is a whole other complication because, like how can we make that work with the animal forms? It's like a whole thing. Like I'll tell you the Wyvern, for example, like we had a hell of a time making
the Wyvern lightning, which means everyone is going to play
while you're
lightning,
doing it.
right?
The Wyvern's sitting there with its arms like planted on the ground, like being able to walk while also spinning it. Yeah, it's like we went through so many iterations of that. So yeah, it was just a very tricky class overall, like just crazy.
I remember seeing some very goofy looking like Wyvern like months and months ago.
Yeah,
we were like trying to, this is not working.
Right.
Like,
well, I also remember like for a long time the wolf was just like a dancing dog. It was just like it looked really silly. And like man, the wolf as well. I mean, it was really hard to get right, and because one of the things we really wanted to avoid was I didn't want that too much of that whole like man in a wolf suit vibe. Yes. Like I wanted to actually get the feeling of like this is an actually different animal, which I think with the bear and the wyvern's way easier. with the wolf, it's like it's really hard not to just go back into that. So we had a lot of questions about like what even the locomotion was. How does it walk? Are we going to walk on 2 legs? Are we going to walk on 4? We ended up splitting the difference. You can do both, right? Like you get that when you're attacking, and you can be upright walking on 2 legs. When you're walking, you run on 4, and you actually do get a speed boost while you're on 4 legs, like as a wolf. Just so after like 1 second of walking, you go down on 4 legs, you start moving a bit faster. So yeah, it's
Actually,
pretty cool.
An interesting thing there, I don't think is each form technically has a kind of passive benefit.
Right.
So obviously you've got the running fast as a wolf. Can't remember exactly what the wyvern ones were, but like for the bear, for example, because you're just a bit bigger, you know, a bit of a tank. You actually do get armor, and armor applies to elemental damage as a thing, and like, you know, there's a kind of, which is like honestly, unless you actually click the bear keyword, is like undescribed everywhere.
Well, it was even more than that, because I was just looking at it in game before. The bear has like passive endurance charge generation.
Yes, it does. From rage expenditure, it does.
I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah. So we really wanted to make sure that each of the different
it would be nice to tell what the wyvern has.
Can benefit the other forms. So like it was really tricky to think like, what are resources that a bear can generate? What are the resources the wolf can generate? What are the ones the wyvern can generate that the other ones can then use in order to kind of get that cross synergy? So that's kind of like one of the reasons why we had to kind of come up with all that stuff. And that part of the trickiness.
And that caught me by surprise as well, because like technically it's mentioned, but I never really fully understood the idea that you can swap between the forms, like human to animal and back. Yeah, I figured that's what's going on here. But you can like leap in as a wolf and then immediately transform to a bear mid slam.
You absolutely can. So the thing with this is that you want to present a fantasy to someone as far as like what the UI is pushing you towards and all that sort of stuff. Like there are going to be a lot of people who are like, I want to be a bear, and they just pick bear stuff and they go all bear, right? But at the same time, we're unconstrained in the sense that you can pick all the other stuff, you can use it at the same time. So one talisman, like effectively when you pick on a talisman from like wolf, bear, or wyvern, what that's giving you is the default attack, right? That's what you're actually picking, and that's all it is, right? And that often will guide you, like what skills you're picking and so on, but you can just use with that same talisman as many different animal skills as you would like. That just means that you've got that sort of free-flowing, like, you know, trying out different stuff, sort of combo gameplay that we like to try and get. So obviously there will just be a lot of people who just pick one thing, right? Like I absolutely expect that. There's a lot of experimentation to do there if you want to do it.
Yeah, so you've tried to hit like making it so like people who just want like a simple straightforwards, like I just want to run out as bear and slam the ground, like that's certainly very possible there. But also you with this whole class you had the problem of how do we make like a spellcaster and a melee attacker that's shapeshifter as well. I mean, this class has got a bit of everything.
For sure.
How did you make all that kind of like work together and solve that build problem of like, how do you actually scale these things together in a way that just one thing isn't way better than everything else?
Right. Well, I mean, it's always tricky, and Mark's obviously the one who handles a lot of the balance stuff. But I can see, even just from a design perspective, so I just throw over the fence all my horrible stuff, and then you're like, how the hell am I going to balance this? Effectively, like, so even with the spellcaster side, so one of the things we initially wanted with the spellcasting is a lot of it's like over time type effects that
we also have the blog
so
post,
for example, with the volcano being the really obvious one, right? Like you can create this thing, and then you can turn into an animal and do other stuff at the same time. So we needed on the human side a lot of things that last for a long time. But the problem you then run into when you actually go to balance the thing is like, okay, well, if you've just got like 5 damage over time style spells, why not just cast all of them and then you don't have to ever do anything else, right? Like, so it's like that kind of stuff makes it really hard. So then you have to start thinking, okay, we want to make it so that you cast a long-term thing as a human, but then being an animal is going to augment that so that it improves it. So for example, with the tornado, it's got a similar mechanic to the little twisters that the hunters have, where ground effects can empower it with extra elemental stuff. And so then we're like, okay, well, if the animal forms are the ones that can create the ground effects, then that means that you're kind of like, you're going to want to do, you know, like, to mix that with the tornado, you now have to have both the animal forms and the spellcaster stuff if you want to get all of that together. So it's just a lot of that thinking about how can an animal form aid a spell, how can a spell aid an animal form, like all the way through. And then, as I said, we throw it over the fence, and then Mark tries to work out what kind of numbers can actually make it
it's a web of infinite difficulty, right? Because like we're talking about the 4 forms within the class, but each of these skills also synergizes with every other class and every other skill in the game. And it's becoming growingly more complicated, but that's also what's fun about the game and what all the things you can unlock and the crazy builds you can do.
There's still many more classes missing.
Yeah, I mean, this week's focus has been like, okay, we had all the, like during our alpha testing and internal testing, we had like, there was the, I want to be all forms going between. There was the, I just want to be wolf, I just want to be bear, I just want to be a dragon. And now we're getting a lot more of, I just want to cast nature plant skills and do plant stuff. And so it's like, okay, well, how do we make that work? Well, because they're quite long duration, so we're having a bunch of complexity with that as well. And it honestly just, it does just spiral into like, oh my God, there's 20 million variables here. But it's fun. And at the end of the day, as long as it is honestly fun to play, then honestly we're golden. So, you know, I would say we're pretty much there on almost everything with this class. I'd actually say we're a little bit more prepared than normal. We've had a lot of testing.
Yeah.
Despite, I mean, partly because it's been in the works for so long. But yeah, it's, I don't know, like ultimately pretty fun. I'd say there's still something, obviously there's still more to do. There's obviously always more to do. But yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of enjoyment. I saw yesterday, I was just like walking past someone's computer and, you know, someone was mentioning like, yeah, it's just fun placing 6 volcanoes and then just slamming on them. I was like, all right, sweet, you do you. Like, that's fine.
I was definitely enjoying obliterating bosses in bear form, like with dropping tornadoes, and there's the totem which you can summon in animal form. And then you're putting fishes down and they're exploding, and you're putting extra things on the ground and they're exploding. And there was definitely some boss deletion going on there.
Even just walking past the just many entangles going out, and then there's that plant support gem. I'm like, all right, it's putting the new.
I see chat being like, no, Zig, you don't get it nerfed. I do have to admit that I did already get one thing, let's say fixed. Okay. There was a thing that was like double generating rage. So I'm like, I don't know if this was intended. Right. And like, no, the designer said that's probably not intended. Thanks, Ziggy. I'm like,
I don't know. I will see where that goes, because I was like, no, that's fine.
This is a fish.
It made it to me, and I was like, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because it generates rage when you first slam, and then the fishes, every time they pulse, it generates rage. I'm like,
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't even know that.
Because like the totem's making
that
it
you all
pulse.
played Druid already last.
Right.
I'm like, that doesn't seem
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I love that, because that's like ridiculously powerful. That feels like way permissive. I was like, this feels illegal, but that's like... You gotta let a few things in there that feel illegal.
It's doing what the skill says.
I may not have. Maybe I didn't get enough. Okay, cool.
I don't know. They might have changed it. I'll find out afterwards. I just throw my opinion in there. I don't want to necessarily be like, you know, I try and make sure with a lot of these balanced discussions, it's not like, you know, I'm just an authority on the matter. I want to actually discuss these things through, because maybe it isn't actually fine, but you know, my first instinct is like, yeah, like let it run wild. Like, what's the problem? You know, so
yeah, you gotta.
We'll see what happens, but whatever. They don't know what the problem is, so don't worry. Oh, now they do. Thanks, you've ruined it. Now people will know if it changed, and now
they'll see the thing not generating rage, and let's see that line of text. Now that's the Ziggy line of text. I'm developing a reputation now. Just helping finding bugs. It's okay. So, like the shapeshifting stuff comes from this trinket, the talisman?
Yeah, the animal talisman.
And is there any limitation to just kind of like putting that on another class?
I wonder if we actually
just say like,
more information
I
from
am
this
playing my mace marauder or my quarterstaff monk, and I want to do a wolf leap slam that marks targets.
You can do it. In fact, it was one of the things initially that it's funny with the audio team, because initially like, oh, we want to record like bear lines for the Druid the whole time, and I'm like, hey guys, remember, anyone can turn into this animal. Are you actually going to commit to every single class is going to have like three different extra versions of every single line the character can deliver?
Maximum effort.
It's like, yeah, that's a bit tricky. So we ended up going with a voice mod in the end. But that was one of those.
It's like,
don't forget to claim your reward, by the way, Chad.
It almost sounds like, to me, that's what it sounds like. They're like, thinking it.
But it would have been completely impossible to record every single line an additional 3 times for every character class.
Voice actors, everybody come back and we need to roar like a bear.
Exactly. Effectively, every class can be an animal. It's exactly the same as the weapon restriction. Ultimately, being a bear is the same as having a mace, which may sound a little bit odd, but that is actually how it works, and what allows having.
Whoa. I didn't even think about that. Wait, so you can use mace skills while in bear?
No. What I meant was that it's the same. I mean, it's the same in the sense that it's just a weapon type, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Damn it, now we have to make that possible.
Well, I mean, you can turn into Calm as a bear.
That's unique item territory for the future.
It often gets talked about, like the idea of like, why are things like so weapon locked? And I've always maintained the position that you guys want to kind of do that as much as possible initially, and then in the future you can blur the lines a little bit. Like there's maybe in the future you're like, oh well, maybe this skill has a way of crossing over.
We can do, but the thing is, a lot of the identity of a weapon type really comes a lot from what it can do.
The crazy part is the difference between this interview and the Diablo point of view.
The weapon swapping, and you can still use skills from different elements.
Yeah.
Sorry, different weapons and things like that.
The thing is, like, it's funny that you mentioned that with the bear, because like definitely some of the bears I noticed parallels between some of its skills and some of the mace stuff, and I could see absolutely combining like this bear skill that places fishes with the other stuff on the mace that triggers the fishes. Like there's like very obvious like cross synergy build.
Well, I mean, they're adjacent classes, right? I mean, you've got like strength versus strength int. Like we want to be able to make sure that some of those key elements do like cross over.
Before
just
you
so
seem
to
demoralized. Exactly. This is like they're just gushing.
Well, as you get more classes and more skills, you obviously get an overlap of the kind of mechanics and keywords and stuff, you know, iterating, and thus they will always cross synergize. And where there still will be new things a class offers, yes, there's always going to be a bunch of stuff that they use that will then interact with all the other skills. So.
Yeah, and now you added plants and plants that grow from rain, and there's a plant keyword that has overgrown as a keyword.
Like, it's interesting actually, those ones, because they're on completely opposite sides of the tree. You've got dex versus strength int, and that's been a little bit hard to kind of like get the like where the mechanic should go on one side versus the other. So where we ended up going is that the nature side of things for plants on the strength int is like you've got the poison on the dex side versus the kind of like just pure nature like physical damage spells on the on the strength int side.
Absolutely, no isn't going on here.
Because now it's been
what? So I'm asking,
it's actually been really fun designing the supports because
coming, or just
the more classes we have, the more we can start to think, okay, like here's a support that's for something obscure. How can we make it so this can apply to some other kind of thing on the opposite side of the tree? Where like now you've got some interesting interaction. So there could be some kind of like thing where growing plants as a ranger could be sort of something. I mean, like I can't say I've tested the potential there myself, but like we made all of that work. All the plants can, you know, like plant stuff all has mechanics around like watering the ranger's plants is like a thing. They all have ways that works.
I mean, that definitely opens up interesting party feature as well. Like I do like the idea of being like a rainy druid watering.
It's a thing. It's easily a thing. It's not even hard to do as well.
Right.
It's kind of just like, thanks, Druid, you buffed poison rangers. Yeah. Like, that's kind of just what happened.
Yeah. All right, good, yes. And the rain buffing lightning skills as well, like increasing shock chance and stuff. It's pretty wild how much stuff you've just jammed into one class here. How did you like kind of settle on a identity for the wyvern in particular? I feel like people know what a bear is, people know what the wolf is, and even a lot of the like druid stuff is pre-established.
While they're talking, I need to download your YouTube video.
Lifting up the earth, that sort of stuff.
Well, we really wanted to have a third form that was a little bit out there in terms of different from what you'd seen in another game. I mean, obviously, like every game that's got transformations has the bear and the wolf, right? That's just like the staple. But and actually,
content.
Funnily enough, for that reason, we couldn't not do it. There was actually a period there where we weren't going to have a wolf because we were a little bit unhappy. Yeah, with us, and it's just like, well, exactly right. That was the reaction. That was the reaction of like all the furries come out of the woodwork and like, you gotta have a wolf.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Exactly right. So we're like, okay, we'll have a exactly. Don't anger them. You know. So that was a real concern. So we decided to go. We needed the two familiar, and then we needed one that was a little bit more out there. And really, when we were looking at the bear and the wolf, it was kind of like we want the slower, harder hitting. We want the faster and like speedy kind of version, obviously being the wolf. We also wanted something that had some range elements, and then a sort of more spellcastery vibe a little bit more. And so we sort of thought about it a little bit like, what animal is ranged? Like it's not really, there's like it's kind of not a lot out there that can really sort of do that. And so eventually we settled on the wyvern. I mean, someone of course at one point was like, how about a dragon? And we're like, what the heck? What are you talking about? But then eventually I thought about it, and it's like, actually, you know what? There's some potential here.
If you suggested to me, I told you not to do it because like there's no way you could make it look good and not look stupid. But
it eventually it was hard though. We did get there.
It actually looks pretty cool. But it's kind of a spell blade almost. Like it's got a bit of range stuff, but it's got a bit of like spell kind of melee things going on.
I mean, as it should be for strength
and go like.
Yeah, and you were asking what the passive buffs were. I was looking at it before. It's like it's got buffs to freeze, shock, and energy regeneration actually as well, like energy recharge, I think.
It's a shame you knew. The reason I was actually being vague is I knew what they were. I just wanted to change them.
Okay, I mean that's fine. Do something.
Sorry
cool.
for my slight disingenuousness.
Do something cool.
I kind of feel like they shouldn't. I didn't want them to be offensive benefits.
Yeah, they're supposed to be
It,
defensive. in
it
nature.
forces you into
right.
certain build
like a little
types.
bit, yeah.
Whereas like if they're utility or defensive, that way they will work across all board. That's
Yeah.
my general philosophy. So I was like, I feel like I want to have a go at trying to design the energy shield thing. I don't mind. I wanted to have a go at designing stuff that's more utility or defensive only,
That's
and that
way
way you don't
smarter.
feel like, oh, I should have to play lightning or fire because it gets the passive
Right,
benefits.
okay.
That way, if you wanted to do
Wyvern's
a kind of
unexpected, but
weird
it's
out there thing,
test case.
it doesn't feel so bad. But we'll see what I come up with.
Do you have an idea, or
Whatever.
are you still figuring it out?
Nah, I got no clue. I don't know. You could play on the fact it's got like wings to something defensive for block or something for hard carapace maybe or I don't know. The fact it has wings. Something to do with the
so
wings,
much
right?
dragon lore to pull from. I
don't know.
got like a book that my daughter really likes to read that's like full of dragon lore. I'll send you some ideas.
All right, sweet, yeah. Dragon, they hoard gold, right? Gold finds.
Yeah,
that
totally.
sounds like it.
Eat
I
piles
mean,
of
that
gold
we're like
for
8
buffs
days
or
before
there's
something.
gold over
release,
there.
and
Quick
they're talking
shapeshift,
about
pick it
changing
up,
the
shapeshift
passives on the
back.
Wyvern.
I'm obviously joking. Please, I'm not doing that.
Gold find, no, please don't. Mandatory dragon gold find build. I know it's kind of funny though. It's distinctly POE.
Still living us with lightning
so
arrow,
the Druid
lightning
is
rod.
this,
You can
like,
definitely do that suicidal.
Strength int class, and with the Templar, we had the idea more of like you've got that armor energy shield stuff, but that's still the case here, as that's the strength int base. But I feel like the energy shield stuff is not as iconic to Druid. How have you incorporated that and made it feel like something that makes sense, or like in what ways have you incorporated that to the Druid? I feel like it's not obvious.
They announced any new ascendancies,
Yeah, look,
Druid ascendancies, but we don't know everything
the,
yet.
the field there,
Patch
but at
notes
the
are
end of the
coming
day,
in 2
we can't
hours,
really have
but
any
they
options
did
as
not
far as
announce
what
any
we
new
can do. I
ascendancies.
mean, like that,
That's
it
going
is
to be patch
important for it to
05
be
probably.
that it has that, like armor and energy shield approach. There's a few sort of interesting, what do you call them, spirit reservation gems. I don't know what the
So far we have new
what the
class,
name of that is.
new
That sort of
ascendancies.
interact with
New
that stuff
class,
in a
new
dual way. So
ascendancy.
there's like that
Probably.
bark skin thing that effectively allows you to take advantage of energy shield to generate armor. Like, so when you lose energy shield, you get armor instead, and like it like creates little bits of bark on your skin as you. There's like things
You're
like that. with
under-impressed
it.
except the
But,
shaman
yeah, a little,
ascendancy.
it's
I mean,
a
the
little
shaman
bit of
ascendancy
a
was
thematic
fire.
thing. I think probably
Definitely.
the weirdest part about that is like, yeah, you're gonna have energy
Okay,
shield
so
as a
gameplay,
bear.
yes, this
It's a
is
bit
already
strange.
the end of
like, you know,
the
getting hit
reveal.
as a bear and then there's a little energy shield
This is
pop.
the
I mean,
Q&A.
yeah, it is what it is.
After
It
the
has to be that
Q&A,
one.
an hour
Oh, you have to.
later,
Well, I
we
suppose,
will
sure, you can
actually
just
get
armor
the
if you
patch
want,
notes
but
Well,
too.
I feel like
that
there's
show
like such
all
a
the
range
changes.
of identities within that one class as well, that you've got the bear maybe that
If you're
doesn't really
looking
align
for
as much with that.
more
It's probably
gameplay,
armor
we
stuff
get
Yeah,
going
so you
on.
could
link
build,
to
more
the,
strength when you depending on what
announcement
animal form you're
proper.
playing, of course.
Yeah,
And we'll
whereas,
make a
the
YouTube video
Wyvern
about the
potentially has
announcement
more of
soon.
that kind of magical
It does.
aspect to it, where
And
it's
then-
like that's
Have they
I mean,
announced
that's why
above
the Wyvern itself does
90
get
skill
the,
set and
benefits
change?
Yeah.
to energy shield, and the bear does get the
And
benefits
we're
to
getting
armor. It'll also
200
kind of make it so you are,
new nodes
like,
in the
depending
passive
on what
tree.
animal form you're going, there's a bit of alignment in the defenses there.
I mean, really, it's the tree that inspires and motivates this, right? Like, a sorceress could be on the bottom side of the tree and still have the same skill set, and obviously the damage nodes are a bit weird, but it could work. There's nothing saying. I mean, that's part of the beauty of the game as well.
Time to release on the 12th.
Yeah, I mean, I had that experience where I was like, because it wasn't as clear, I was almost inventing my own lore there a little bit, where I was specking the regen from the Druid, and then the Zealot's Oath right there. I'm like, oh, this actually like...
Okay, so
you
the
converting your
Q&A
natural
does not have any parts of information anymore that I wish to look at. What I'd rather want to do is I want to look at the actual... We get some gems here, so you get the talismans, right, that turn you. They give you bonus damage. Then you get something like... Gain 1 druidic power for every 20 total rage spend. Yep, that's the rage power. We get Lunar Assault. Converts physical damage to cold damage. More magnitude of chill inflicted. More freeze buildup. We get the Cross Slash. That jumps back, right? And flings ice fragments. And we have the Lunar Blessing. Rage to the moon to receive a blessing. Getting bonus cold damage. Yeah. Attack speed and movement speed for yourself and any wolf minions you have in a wolf pack. For the Predator's Mark. Get the bear that was here, Furious Slam, together with the Walking Calamity, and then the Ferocious Roar. Ferocious Roar can socket War Cries, which is fire. We get the Wing Blast, which is the coolest ability from the Wyvern, right? Shapeshift into a Wyvern and launch yourself backwards with a powerful wing beat that knocks back enemies. Enemies primed for a heavy stun will be stunned, release a shockwave, and have a chance to ground you a power charge. Ah, this is how you get power charges. Enemies primed for heavy stun will be stunned and release a shockwave and have a chance to run your power charge. Cannot cause stun build up, knocks back enemies, blast length to 6 meters, surpassing chance to ground a power charge on heavy stun modified by monster power. Okay. So you could probably put on Wing Beat as support for bonus power charges, right? Devour is eating an enemy based on distance traveled, knocks back enemies, impact radius, regenerates life per enemy or corpse consumed over a second, consumes up to 2 additional corpses near the target. And it gives a power charge. Ah. That's also, so we get the Wing Blast and we get this for power charges. Pretty good. Any changes for other classes? Yes, the patch notes are coming, Keko, but we don't have them yet. We get the Oil Barrage, that is fire 3 projectiles, and they are ignitable, right? And we get the Flame Breath. That's the super attack where he goes up and goes like... Wyvern channeling ends after a short amount of time, but can be prolonged by spending Rage. Consumes a power charge if possible to empower the skill. Gaining extra lightning damage and spending Rage more slowly. Rage costing is ignored for first 4 seconds of channeling. Cannot gain Rage while the skill is active. So, Empowered Flame Breath spends Rage 50% slower. Which means we need mana, and then we need Rage per second. So we gotta build up Rage somehow with skills, right? To then use up Rage. Pretty good. Get the Nature Druid that had Volcano. And Volcano is gonna be great. We get Entangle, which makes Fissures. And that's interesting because it says Fissures. And we have a lot of Fissure supports, guys. So this could make so many Entangles, it's actually crazy. I wonder if the Fissure supports work. Limit is 4 Fissures, right? But you could make 1 cast, make all the Fissures already. Get the Thunderstorm, which makes it also rain, right? And then you have the Spell Totem. Consumes 3 power or endurance charges to range a totem that uses socketed spells. Socketed skills deal more damage per power charge consumed, more totem life per endurance charge consumed, more totem duration per endurance charge consumed. Skills deal less damage. Skills have less cast speed. We get the Ascension. Sadly, it doesn't show us the Ascension tree as they did in the video, so we're going to go back in the video for this. We get more support gems. Triggers accelerated growth on overgrowing plants. Echoing Cry. That was the bonus cries. Tectonic Slams have a less aftershock area of effect. Supported skills deal less damage with aftershocks. Bud. Supported skills cause 1 additional aftershock ahead and to each side of the initial area. Body's Vengeance. When you freeze a target with supported skills, for each 1 rage you have, you and allies in your presence gain 1% of damage as cold damage for 20 seconds. That's kind of nifty. There's a unique that generates 10 rage belt, maybe. There's also a potion that generates rage, right? So there are multiple ways to generate rage. It should be possible. See, Baku's Rending. Supported skills trigger Fierce Reclamation on landing. It's fire damage in an area around the exploding corpse based on its maximum life. Interesting. Could go for elite corpse explosion mechanic. Yeah, there's a big character balance coming. That's already there. And then we have the Fate of the Vaal, right? And the Fate of the Vaal gives us this cool temple, Chan, where you can build your own temple, which is actually really nifty. I'm big time looking forward to this. My favorite part right now is that you can get all these corruption orbs, right? And you can just sell them. So I am not looking to twice corrupt stuff, but I am definitely looking to profit off enemies, right? Off people. I'm going to be fine with that. Just fleecing people. Why not? Just get the most out of them instead of like doing it yourself, right? And then we defeat the Royal Architect. Yoxi's Fulmination. Supported skills create cursed ground. Enemies on the cursed ground from supported skills are cursed while within it. Trigger Annihilation when cursed ground from support skills have persisted for 7 seconds. Annihilation. Deal physical damage. Hits a total of 6 times over 2 seconds. Intriguing. Quetzal's Ablation. When an offering from Sweat Skill dies, regenerate 5 of your life in mana per second for as long as that offering was alive. We got the Queen, who drops the Aziri's Rule, right? That was mentioned before. And the Abyss is obviously now Curse core mechanic, which is going to be fire. I love this. Hopefully Druid plays better than it looked in the video. Seems clunky and I hate charge spenders. The Temple Link mechanic looks pretty cool. Honestly, Rail, I do believe that you don't have to play Druid as a charge spender. You can play Druid as a charge spender. However, there's a lot of natural incoming, right? The Wyvern just makes power charges by existing, right? You just exist, you make power charges. And then as you make power charges, you do the Flame Breath. So I think the Wyvern is going to play a bit similar to Monk. Because you kind of have like, you got to hit enemies, prime them for stun. Use your Wing Blast, make power charges with a Devour 2, then have your Oil Barrage and or your Flame Breath be empowered, and be good about it, right? So do you go straight for Druid? I will straight start as a Druid and play him as a Druid. So I won't start with a Druid and use Lightning Arrow because that is not the intended thing to use. I will play a Druid as a Druid and enjoy Druid like that. Wyvern needs to eat to gain charges? No. The Wing Blast can also give you power charges. The Devour can give you power, will give you power charges. You can then spend set power charges. However, you could probably also play Combat Frenzy to make power charges, right? There will be ways. So I'm pretty much excited for that. I mean, obviously the Druid is, the bear form is also interesting with the slams and the fire. I do believe this is going to be like a more warrior style gameplay that has the benefit of added like shamanistic powers to it. However, no one says that you have to play Wyvern only, right? You can play Wyvern plus Caster. Or you play Wyvern plus Bear because you use the Bear to stack up Rage to then use your Flame Breath. Because that's also important, right? If you use your Flame Breath, you consume Rage. So you need to have an opportunity to actually build up Rage. However, the actual Talon hit of the Wyvern is a melee hit. So we should be able to socket Rage support. Right? That's at least what should probably work. We'll see about it. I mean, plenty amazing. Really looking forward to it. This has me all kinds of excited. However, we're now having to wait all the time for the patch notes to actually come, right? While Mark and Jonathan, like, see, they're still geeking out, chat. Right?
AB version of the mechanic where you've got a lesser number of rooms, like it's kind of a bit simpler, like to start out with, and then once you pass the sort of key
thing about the Q&A is
it, like, really
there's just no bonus information
past. You've got a little more story stuff going on. It did add quite a lot more work to kind of have to make 2 versions of a bunch of things and that kind of stuff, but I think it is worth it because it means that it feels like the league has a lot more going on, it just, doesn't kind of break you don't break immediately the feeling of the world, which has been a problem in the past.
I have very strong opinions on this one. It's like dark horror, gothic, secondary 3 dimensions deep of, you know, like in the past and or in some sort of demon realm now. I don't know what's going on here.
And it's fine as you go, but this is actually one of the challenges I think we're going to have just designing leagues generally, is that they're going to require a bit more work to make them feel right. I mean, even just something as simple as like the Vaal sacrifice circles that you get throughout the world. Normally what we would have done is like make one thing and call it a day. Here what we've done is we've got like 10 or more. It's a ton of variations of those, where for like each act we're like, in like for each area we're thinking like, okay, which like we need more of these.
The entire Pesto tree has to be rerun to give the Druid nodes. Yes. I mean, there will definitely have to be more Druid nodes right now. If we go into the tree currently, there is not enough that would work with the animal forms, I guess. Right? Considering that the animal form is like lightning and whatsoever. I do assume that the left side of the tree is going to look vastly different Because right now there's a lot of generic boots and it's mostly defensive, right? I mean, if I was going for the Wyvern, for example, I could go for spell and attack damage, right? We could go for area of effect melee damage, something like that. Here, increased damage, crit hit chance. You have area effect, you get kind of like life regeneration. We get aura skill magnitude, crit damage bonus on the side. It's a bit weird, all in all, right? We get minions, we get mana regeneration, then you have the defense here on the side. This would be, again, stun threshold regeneration, stuff like that. You would have here melee attack speed and melee damage, which then only would work actually for the one attack of the Wyvern, but not for the other attacks. Then on the other hand, you have spell damage, so that would work with all the spell damage stuff. We get like fire, okay, cool. But then like all the way up here would be the first unilateral that works for everything, right? So this is just attack damage. However, that's all the way you have to travel. And then you get here again, fire alone. Righto. And you get like some mana regeneration on the side. But yeah, like as you say, getting something to actually like, if I was playing my Wyvern, I would probably go here for the attack damage and spell damage mix or just melee. But again, melee just like, is the melee attack actually on the Druid skill? Let's check. It's the melee attack. So this has the tags has shapeshift, wyvern, AoE, melee, and wind. Okay, so the wing blast actually has a melee tag, and the devour has a melee tag. Plus the oil barrage does not have a melee tag, obviously. But that means that you could go here for attack spell, melee, melee, melee. Bum. Then we could probably go over the regeneration, or from here over the side, because you don't want to actually mess with that in the middle. Right? And then you can take the melee damage, melee damage, melee damage, melee damage. With the here melee attack speed as well. So probably attack speed and damage like this whole thingy. And afterwards you will make your way up until you hit the whole attack spree. This is link skills. This is not useful. Spell skills. This is crit damage bonuses. Yeah. So these are like the only things you could actually do for damage, right? Do attack and spell damage mean the same thing? Attack damage boosts attack, spell damage boosts spells. So what you have to look out for is, for example, Wing Blast is an attack, as you can see on the top. Devour is an attack, Oil Barrage is an attack, and Flame Breath is an attack. These are not spells. They're not being boosted by spell damage, right? And then you have something like the, here, down here, the Volcano. That is a spell, so it's boosted by spell damage. Tangle, Thunderstorm, spell, like they're spells, right? Okay, that's pretty cool. Chat, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go offline, and I'm gonna we're gonna record a video where I wrap everything together that we learned about the Druid today, and then tomorrow we're gonna get the whole patch notes rundown, because I need to sleep before I read 400,000 lines of patch notes. They changed 90 skills. They brought 200 new passive notes. They reworked almost every single ascendancy that I said. And balanced that, rebalanced it, and changed them again. We have a lot to talk about, chat, and it's going to be a nifty TLDR with timestamps and everything. What I can promise for tonight is I'll do a Druid video where we wrap everything together for the people that have missed it. Tomorrow will be then the patch note video, and we will do one on the new league mechanic with the temple, where we break that also completely down, okay? So those are kind of like the videos I've planned. And what we're doing is also live streams where we pretty much go over all these changes together and plan some future builds out, okay? Because the plan is to like revamp all the beginner guides that we have for you on our tactician and make them ready for 04, okay? That's my big plan. Therefore, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me here for the reveal. And I can't wait to go through the patch notes tomorrow with you together, chat. It's gonna be crazy, and we're gonna have a lot of questions that need to be answered, okay? So therefore, take care, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night, and if you have questions, post them in the comments, and watch the video that's there to come in like 2 hours maximum. See you then.